I'll keep this intro quick so we can get straight to the video, but if you would like to be a part of one of my future videos, make sure to join the Discord down in the description or on my channel bio. That'd be much appreciated. This video also contains many spoilers from the anime and the manga, so if you're not caught up with chapter 263, I recommend clicking off this video. And let's get right into the list. In dead last 13th place we have, well, I'm not even sure if this is an actual domain expansion, but the Smallpox Deities domain. This is a graveyard domain that traps the target inside a coffin, buries it beneath a gravestone, and starts a 3-second count. After 3 seconds are up, the target will be infected with smallpox and die. It seems like a cool concept, but the reason it's so low is because I don't know if I really consider it a domain. Like on the wiki it says it is, but we never got to know the name of the curse that used the domain, so for that reason it goes to 13th place. In 12th place we have Kenjaku's domain, which is Womb Profusion. This domain takes the form of a giant pillar of cursed spirits capable of blasting a target into oblivion with its sure hit effect. This domain looks really fucking ugly and I hate it. Now I'm not sure why this was given to Kenjaku because this should have been Geito's domain. But for some reason it was given to Kenjaku. Like, it would have been way more cool if Kenjaku had a domain dealing with body swapping or something, but there's nothing we can really complain about now because he's dead. In 11th place we have Naoya Zenun's domain, called Cell Moon Palace. This is a domain where Naoya's targets are hit with animation frames, forcing them to abide by the 24 frames per second rule. Failure to follow the rule freezes up the cells in their body, disturbing their cellular structure and severely damaging them. Man, just give this domain to Nobito instead. It easily would have been in the top 5. Sadly, it was given to this fucking asshole. What a waste. In the top 10 now, we have Dagon's domain, Horizon of the Captivating Skanda. This domain is a beach area that allows Dagon to freely control a vast amount of water, as well as several dozen fish like Shikigami. I think this domain is really cool, but it's too chill and does not look menacing at all. Like for Nanami, Yamaki, and Nobito, it was a fucking struggle, but Toji really just walked in there and said, "Oh,
y'all got all expense paid seafood boil in this motherfucker? Crab for me? Don't mind if I do."
Then proceeded to dog walk Dagon in his own fucking domain. This was kind of boring, but it had a really good fight. In 9th place we have Jogo's domain, Coffin of the Iron Mountain. This domain traps the target inside a large volcano hot enough to combust normal sorcerers upon entering. In addition to his pyrokinesis, the fuck is that word? Jogo can control the earth within the volcano to attack as well. This domain is basically one of the best in JUJUTSU Kaisen strength-wise, but the only time we really saw it was against fucking Gojo, and the last time we could have seen it was while he was fighting Sukuna, but he was too scared to pull out his domain. What a little pussy Jogo was. Jogo in general was done so dirty, but the reason he's so low is because it just is too basic. It's not really interesting, and it could have been way more. In 8th place we have Yozaru's domain, Threefold Affliction. This is a domain with mushroom-like appendages floating around in empty space. It guarantees Yozaru's constructed attacks hit their target. Now, I don't really know how this domain works, and it's kind of confusing for me, but if I had to guess, it's just like she can make whatever she wants with fucking construct. And please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but Yozaru's hot, so it goes in 8th. In 7th place we have Sukuna's domain, Malevolent Shrine. Malevolent Shrine hits anything within its effective range relentlessly with slashing attacks. Sukuna can customize the range of his technique up to 200 meters. This is the halfway point, and I'd like to say that this is the good middle ground for domains. Like, it's really simple yet very effective, and it's one of the only open domains in the show, which gives it that creative touch needed. I do like this domain, and I think this is where the list starts to get good, but if I had to say, it's at the bottom of the top, if that makes sense. In 6th place we have Hikari's domain, aka Idle Death Gambler.
Hikari is effectively immortal.
This is a Panchino themed domain that enters all participants into a gambling game based on the private Pure Love Train manga series. Hikari gains a temporary boost of unlimited curse energy if he hits the jackpot. This is definitely one of the most, if not the most creative domains in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Most domains are just an extension or amplification of one's technique, but Hikari's domain is a complete left field and it works so well. And the Hikari edit music is peak. In 5th place we have Megumi's domain called Chimera Shadow Garden. This domain in its incomplete form allows Megumi to fill an area with thick fluid shadows and summon countless Shikigami from them, as well as utilize advanced manipulation of his shadows. So think of it as you can just teleport and make your Shikigami teleport around. Is that not fucking badass? Like if someone asked you what domain I would want IRL, I think this one would be one of my favorite options. In the 4th spot we have the glorious Jar King's domain, aka Gojo's domain expansion, Infinite Void. This domain traps the target inside the Limitless. Once inside the domain, it floods them with endless information, rendering them immobile. I like this domain, but the only thing that holds it back is just, it's too basic. The thing with JJK is that a lot of domains that get introduced early on end up being basic, unlike others that are a lot more creative and more thought out later in the series. Like take Gojo's, Sukuna, and Jogo's domain for example, and also throw in Mahito's. You see what they are? They're all just extensions of their technique. Gojo, it's just an extension of Limitless. Mahito, it's just his technique, but he doesn't have to touch them. Jogo, it's his fire technique, but he doesn't have to touch them. Sukuna, it's just his slashing technique, but he doesn't have to do anything, he just has to stand there. But compared to later domains in the series, like Hikari, his technique, actually I don't really know his technique, but I know it's something to do with fucking doors. In his domain expansion, I already explained it, that private pure love train shit, but do you get what I'm saying with this? It's not a bad domain, it's just, it gets held back for being too basic. It's finally the top 3, and in our 3rd spot is Yuta Kotsu's domain, called Authentic Mutual Love. In this domain, the ground is littered with cross-shaped wreckage and countless katanas. Yuta has unrestricted access to all copied curse techniques and can apply them to the domain's can't miss attack. I have not gotten to this part of the manga yet, I'm on chapter 220, but if Yuta was able to get Sukuna in this, then how the fuck is Sukuna alive? Like if he's able to use all of the copy curse techniques he's accumulated over the years, unrestricted, curse speech alone would kill him. Like, it doesn't really make sense, but I guess I'll figure it out once I get to that part of the manga. In the number 2 spot, we have Higuruma's domain called Deadly Sentencing. This is a court-themed domain that puts Higuruma's target on trial. All violence is prohibited and proceeds are overseen by Judgeman. Trials that end in a guilty verdict result in sentencing from Judgeman. The sentencing can range from no charge release to an instant death sentence. If you're given the death sentence, Higuruma will get the Executioner's Sword that can kill anyone in a single blow. I don't think I really need to explain myself because this is just fucking badass. Like, from the looks and from how it operates, it's just all tense. Well, that leaves us with the last spot on our list, but before we do that, let me give an honorable mention to my domain expansion.
The one who left it all behind with his overwhelming intensity. Charlie Ginger begins his chant, Domain X.
This little fuck really thinks he can use domain expansion.
Yeah, stop trying, you ginger bitch.
Charlie ignored the discouragement and yelled loudly, Domain Expansion. Leprechaun Wonderland.
Leprechaun Wonderland is a non-barrier, sure-hit effect domain that turns the 200 meters around it, no matter how drastic, into a green grassy field with gold and lucky charms all over the ground, and anyone within the domain will turn into a 3'2" leprechaun. The gold kills on touch, and the lucky charms, if eaten, will kill instantly. The sure hit is whenever you turn into a 3'2" leprechaun, you have an uncontrollable urge to steal the gold and eat the lucky charms. Unless you have an unshakable soul, like Yuji, in which case you won't want to eat the lucky charms or steal the gold, but you'll still be a leprechaun until the domain closes, and you'll have the disadvantage due to being 3'2". And finally, in the number 1 spot, for those who skipped to this part in the video and those who stayed with us, it's Mahito's domain. Self-embodiment of perfection allows Mahito to manipulate the souls of anyone caught inside his domain. disregarding the condition that requires Mahito to touch his opponent. This domain is the pinnacle of domains for me. The colors, the mechanics, the giant hands, everything is just beautiful. And I can't stress that enough. I love Mahito and his pure fucking evilness. I just love it. Well, that's the end of the video. Bye.